All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless D here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music, doing it in real time for a few real people out here just like you and just like me. So, gonna confirm what we already know about Steven Tyler, according to a close friend of his. Before I get to Steven Tyler, here is Greg Nagy, the real you. You want some soulful blues, Chicago-based blues, rock and blues, soul rock and blues, just good music. This isn't glitzy, it's not glamorous, but it's super well done. I want to thank Greg for not only sending me one CD, but sending me two CDs for the price of one and autographing the CD. Holy crap, Batman. I truly don't deserve it, but this is some cool music. Just go listen to it. You may not like it. That's fine. I don't know where I'm at this year when it comes to music. I'm sort of done with the run-of-the-mill melodic rock stuff that I've been promoting. When I say run-of-the-mill, other than like the Voyage album that I was totally into, I mean, some of it's good, and I'll mention it, and I'll still probably give some plugs where they're needed, but I don't know. I'm definitely going back to roots music, and this is some really good stuff. Greg Nagy, the real you. Speaking of roots music, Aerosmith. Well, kinda, especially in the early days, right? Apparently, Steven Tyler, according to drummer Matt Sorum, Steven Tyler will never tour again. Okay. So there it is. You can now go back to your regularly scheduled other stuff. But keep watching, okay? Because I need a few views here. This is a little bit interesting because what Matt Sorum says about Steven Tyler, I think, is very important in this world of people not wanting to leave the stage and people fooling you. So, Steven Tyler made his comeback to support Janie's Fund, which was a really good cause. But former Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver drummer Matt Sorum, who has served as the musical director for Steven Tyler's return, put to bed the idea that Steven Tyler is back and he's going to be out there with Aerosmith. He says this: "Let me just explain what's happening with Steven Tyler, because he's a really good friend. He went out and sang, and it was a really big moment for him because he hurt himself prior to that. Now, is he going to tour again? Nope, he's not going to tour. Steven cannot put himself under the rigors of doing a full worldwide tour because there's a lot of pressure. Pressure everywhere. Now, what's that pressure about? Well, he's going to explain that to you. If you're not a singer, he says, you wouldn't understand. But he's 77 years old, and he's a perfectionist. And if he doesn't sing correctly, it bothers him. And he's not going to put it on tape." Oh, there's the big punchline. So Steven Tyler refuses to use a vocal track. So that's good news, because there are too many people being fooled right now, and with AI making new songs for people who can't sing anymore, like Randy Travis, for instance, things are only going to get worse. And Steven Tyler isn't willing to have his voice piped in there, along with him, having to mime and lip sync and all that fun stuff. Sorum goes on to say he will not be on tape, and get this, he won't change the keys of the song. That's just who he is. He's like, I'm an artist, I'm a singer, this is my band, I've been doing this for 50 years, and if I can't do it perfect, I can't do it. This is something that Matt Sorum really respects. He says, I've talked to him multiple times. I said, so just sing 4 or 5 songs tops. He says, I can do that. And that was just one time. Maybe down the line he'll do it again and possibly do the same amount of songs. Sorum goes on to say, I wanted to explain to the fans that are commenting, oh, he's singing, meaning that he's back. To have him on stage was really great. I cried. It was just beautiful. And I hope that he can do it more because it's in his blood. But he refuses to basically compromise on not only having piped in vocals, but also changing the keys. And you know, folks, I've been saying this for a while. You'll listen to a lot of these classic rock bands, and the songs sound sluggish. They don't sound they don't have the same giddy up and the same power that they used to have. I mean, they're kind of in that vicinity, and you're all happy when you hear the first few notes because you recognize it. But typically, they're down like a half a step from where they're supposed to be. You go back and listen to the original, and the singer is typically scraping the ceiling with the high notes, and now, you know, they're throwing all the off-speed stuff coming down because they can't go up, and it's really disappointing. And the message I get a lot is, well, Dave, what do you expect? They're 86 years old. What do you expect them to do? Retire. Retire. Or if you're in a band and you want to subcontract, right? You want to sub out your band to other people who can hit those notes and call it the same band and get permission from the fans and get Irving Azoff behind you to promote it. Go for it. Some people won't accept that. But you know what, folks? As time goes on, that is far more reasonable than Steven Tyler going out there to a voice track, which he won't do, or starting the songs. And imagine doing Back in the Saddle again in a lower key. I mean, I think that's the song that broke his larynx, to be honest, but maybe it was just all of them together. But it just wouldn't be the same. You know, maybe you say, okay, we don't do that song in the set list, but you'd be doing that over and over again, where there'd only be like a handful of songs you could probably perform and not compromise on, you know, the original song itself. And I think this is really important that Tyler has drawn a line in the sand where a lot of these guys say, oh, yeah, we're out there performing. Come see us. We're just great. We're just like we always were. There's a guy on YouTube who does analysis, Pegasus. I mean, you guys probably know who he is. I watched one of his videos the other day. It was fascinating. It was fascinating because he knows when voice correction is being used because every note is where it's supposed to be. And he really enjoys the singers who sometimes oversing it or slightly undersing it or hold it a little too long. I mean, there's several things you can do. But at least you know it's a live track. This is what's awesome about live music. It's a little spontaneous. It's interesting. But if the guys can't do it and they're relying on the technology, that's just a ripoff. And it's going to get worse because a lot of people either aren't going to know or they're going to say, I just wanted to see them before they stopped touring. Yeah, okay, well, I hate to be the guy who was there when this all started, but if you didn't see them in their heyday, there's a good chance they don't sound anything like they used to sound. And if you're going to pay all that money for, you know, a lackluster AI-enhanced concert, that's, I don't know, it's the epitome of insanity a little bit, you know? I mean, maybe not insanity, because it's just people don't want to let go. The artists don't want to let go, and the audience doesn't want to let go. But the problem is, this wasn't designed for a 50-year run. No way. I'm sorry. There are very few people that can go 50 years and still sound good. There are a few. There are a few, and I typically give them some praise or say, hey, it's legitimate. Go see it. You know, it's not embarrassing. That's like the criteria. It wasn't embarrassing. They hit a few of the notes, so it was pretty good. Anyway, folks, I think Steven Tyler making the right decision, obviously, and Matt Sorum, good for him for just putting it out there and putting to rest that, Aerosmith, they'll be back. They want to keep the idea of coming back out there just to give fans some hope, and maybe they'll appear somewhere and they'll do a couple of songs together, and that would be cool. But the full-scale tour, it's not going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. All right, before I go, this guy here, Greg Nagi, just some sort of mid-level, low to mid-level, not like meaning he's bad, but just independent type music, which you have to search out for. And I stumbled upon this because I read an article about a new release, and this guy had released this album a few months ago, and I went and listened to it, and I was pleasantly surprised, so I purchased a copy of it. It's called The Real You, and I'm not working for Greg, and Greg's not paying me or anything, so anyway, check it out if you have the chance to do so. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell if you want notifications on when I drop a video. The other channel that I had is dead. It is frozen in time. It's like a statue, unless they rip it down, which they might do someday. So you make sure you want to, if you want to catch me over here, that you subscribe to the channel. And Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, YouTube memberships, and Super Chats. I'll just call them PJ Rock Super Chats. All right? He's my number one Super Chatter, and I appreciate him and everyone else, the patrons who have stuck with me. And some people still don't know. They're waiting for me to put out a new video. I've been putting them out. So, again, it's the Harmless Dave channel. Thanks. God bless. See you soon.